And the License Committee does not have any business tonight, and we'll plan on meeting at the next appropriate time.
Public Works Emergency Management is canceled for the evening.
Does anybody else want to cancel before I start my meeting, or? I'd like to call Public Works to order at 7 o'clock. In the docket of March 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $13,700 from account 1630100-511000 recreation salary and wages to the following accounts to fund the rest of fiscal year 23. Let me read, I'm just gonna read the breakdown, that's all right. I appreciate your enthusiasm, though. $4,000 to 1630100-521020 Lights and Power, $2,000 to 1630100-5301001 Professional Services, $200 to 1630100-542010 Office Supplies, $7,500 to 1630100-546012 Rec Grounds.
Second.
Thank you. So this is just Dennis using money that he has in salary and wages to pay some bills. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $6,000 from 1650100-511000 Park salary and wages to 1650100-530101 Park Professional Services to fund police details needed for tree removals, throughout the city, porta-john cleaning, and geese abatement services at Judy Robbins Park.
Second.
Thank you. So again, this is just Derek moving money around from salary and wages to pay some bills. Does anybody have any questions?
What does geese abatement services?
I think they call them the geese police, the
Is that like
dogs.
Dogs? I would say
Yeah,
dogs.
that chase the geese. I guess it works. And the dogs.
They work real well.
Yeah, they do it at Finberg too, and
Yeah.
I forget where else.
Dennis uses it.
Yeah. So that's what that is. Does anybody have any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. And I have one more. So this is the inclusive parks, and it's gonna read a little different because the one in the motions isn't the most current one with the solicitor revisions. So if you'll just bear with me, from the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve the following ordinance amendments. 12-6, inclusive municipal playgrounds. Section 1, purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to A, facilitate the ability of every child and adult to enjoy recreational and leisure activity, and B, provide safe, developmentally appropriate, and equitable access to recreation and leisure opportunities throughout the city, utilizing welcoming, collaborative, engaging, and sustainable design. Section 2, scope. A, subject to any legal restrictions, encumbrances, or other requirements applicable to a particular property, and when practicable, the City of Attleboro shall ensure that all newly created or renovated municipal playgrounds shall be designed to reasonably ensure that any playground equipment, structures, and spaces that are provided therein are accessible to persons of differing abilities, including those with physical, cognitive, communicative, social, and/or emotional special needs, so that they may enjoy the opportunity to play, learn, and grow together. B, the City of Attleboro shall encourage open public participation in the design and renovation of new and existing municipal playgrounds so as to promote meaningful consideration of the needs and concerns of persons of differing abilities, including those with physical, cognitive, communicative, social, and/or emotional special needs. Section 3, no private cause of action. This section does not create any private cause of action, including, without limitation, any cause of action against the city or any officials, employees, public bodies, departments, or entities, nor shall this section be construed to require that the city renovate any municipal playground. Section 4, definitions. For the purpose of this section, the phrase municipal playground shall mean any playground property under the jurisdiction of the Recreation Director, Board of Park Commissioners, Board of Recreation Commissioners, and/or Superintendent of Parks and Forestry.
Second.
Thank you. So we talked about this a little bit. This is, of course, Counselor DeSimone wrote it, and submitted by her and I. And does anybody have any questions before?
Sorry, and so what were the major differences with the solicitor? Did she just kind of add some different language?
Yeah, so if you look at what, like Virginia printed for you, you see that it ends at section 3 and not section 4 with definitions.
Okay,
So there was a couple that went around, so I just wanted to make sure that I was clear to you guys that it's not gonna read exactly as it's printed here, but it will in the full motions for full council.
I love this. Thank you so much for introducing this. I think it's great, and I loved, all of it. I think it just makes sense.
Good, yeah, everybody's on board, Dennis Walsh, Derek Corsi, Gary Arasian, so it's just to make an effort to, and I don't want to get this confused with anything as far as ADA compliance, because that's not what this is. This is just to make our parks more inclusive and more thoughtful when we're doing renovations or adding new play equipment, et cetera.
Love it.
Does anybody else have any comments?
Doesn't it follow then that they would be ADA compliant because we're adopting this?
Well, if we install something that, of course, it has to be ADA compliant. But this isn't, this is just to make our thoughts when we're doing stuff to be more inclusive. So this isn't changing anything that's already there or adding anything, like forcing anybody to add anything. It's just for consideration. Like Conley Field now is completely fenced in. So that's a big deal to some parents that have children with differing abilities, because, some tend to run off, and if they're near any streets and stuff like that. So that's what we discussed with Gary and Derek and Dennis and such.
Thank
But
you.
obviously, anything that they need to make ADA compliant would be that.
Good.
Does anybody have any, else have any questions or comments? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And I think that is it for me, so I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:07.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
I'd like to call the Finance Committee to order at 7:07. Sitting on this committee are Councilors Reynolds and Councilor Dolan. I've got 6 measures for you this evening, beginning with from the docket of March 7, 2023. Entertain a motion to authorize the school department to pay previous year's school bills totaling $5,809.29 as listed below. Gordon Network, $375.09. Hub Technical, $62.20. Lifespan School Solutions, $5,372.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Reynolds. Just when I thought we were all done, we get this one. So you got the support in your backup materials, and it's all legitimate. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, motion's in order. I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of March 7, 2023, I entertain a motion to appropriate $24,000 from account 6100-578-300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve for transfer to the following accounts to provide extra funds needed for fiscal year '23. $13,000 to account 6100-517120 Water Enterprise Fund Health Insurance HMO, and $11,000 to account 6100-517125 Water Enterprise Fund HMO 500.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Reynolds. So this is not worded properly. It's really not to provide extra funds. It's to provide funds that we know are going to need to be expended. And both of them are health-related. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of March 7, 2023, I entertain a motion to appropriate $25,000 from account 1000-539-000 undesignated fund balance, free cash general government, to account 1145-100-517240, treasurer Medicare tax to pay, for funds to pay the med tax for non-school and non-enterprise employees.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Reynolds. This occurs every year. It's routine. It's to accommodate the Medicare tax for non-school and non-enterprise employees. Any comments?
Just a little, you had said the account number was 539, just if you want to clarify, that's 359, that's all.
So we're going from account 61000517120 to account 61005171125. Thank you. No, I get that wrong. We're going from account 1000-53900.
No, 359. You keep saying 539.
Oh, it's 359.
Yes.
Definitely it's 359.
I was trying not to make a big deal about this, but trying to
Why
just,
do I want to say 539?
I don't know.
Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of March 7, 2023, I entertain a motion to appropriate $40,000 from account 1-000-359000, undesignated fund balance, free cash, general government, to account 1-1451000-5300101, treasurer professional services, to pay attorney fees for the remainder of fiscal year 2023.
Second.
So, I can't let this go without bringing out a major accomplishment from our treasurer, who this year, through Siddell and Siddell, the attorneys that handle the majority of her tax taking and foreclosure business, she has recouped so far this year $745,000 plus in tax title and late payments. Let's see, what is the exact figure? $716,730.68. So, I think that funding her an additional $40,000 to collect the 42 files that are remaining seems to be in order. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. I entertain a motion to transfer $2,000 from account 11241-000-578-300 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 11451-000-5300101, treasurer professional services, to contract with an arbitrage, rebate, and refunding specialists.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Reynolds. I had never heard of such a thing, but they do exist and they're expensive. So, on May 18th, 2012, the city borrowed long-term for a wastewater project that included the capping of the existing sludge landfill and demolition of the old treatment plant. The portion of the loan authorization that was earmarked for the capping and demolition was $2,535,000. Due to supply chain and contract delays, these funds remained unspent. However, this project is now moving forward, and the unspent proceeds will be spent within this year. Due to the delay in these funds being expended, it's necessary for the City of Attleboro to contract an arbitrage, rebate, and refunding specialist. The specialist will perform computations to determine the City of Attleboro owes a rebate to the Internal Revenue Service per Internal Revenue Service Code 148F and ensure the City of Attleboro is in compliance. That's why we're asking for $2,000. Goes to show the complexities never end. Any comments or questions? You sure? You're thinking?
I am thinking, but I'm good.
Okay. Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And regarding the capital improvement plan, do either of you or any other councilors have any input that you want to put into the message that we will be sending to the mayor? Because I've drafted a copy and I will present it to you in 2 weeks. If you want to work that way, just consider what I wrote and edit it. Or if you have some items in here that you're passionate about, now's the time to speak up.
Are you gonna read what you wrote?
I will read it to you in 2 weeks. I didn't bring it with me tonight.
Can you, would it be inappropriate to ask you to email it to? I'd like to at least see it.
I will email a copy to all councilors
Oh, good.
for their
great.
consideration.
Okay, thank you.
So that way we can see what's on the list if
Yeah,
we,
before.
if we all agree, you know, with what's there or
Or get it.
whatever.
I'm
Give it like-
sorry, I did print it out. So, let me tell you what I have. The beginning is all the whereases that you've always heard before.
Yeah, don't read those.
And remember I gave you a spreadsheet back about 4 weeks ago about a whole bunch of projects that totaled $3,758,495? That's what's in the memo. So it's unchanged from the first glance of the book, which are all of the blue and pink that you see in the book. And the last paragraph says, the total, $3,758,495, in suggestions and recommendations are approximately $500,000 more than last year, reflecting the items we did not complete with the new urgent items in the plan. So we're going backwards. We're not gaining ground on the capital improvements, we're actually losing ground. It may be possible that some of the ARPA money that's available this year might be able to exhaust a lot of that, so that it won't be larger next year. I would love to see that happen. But the starting point is to get our message from the council to the mayor to say, this is what we think we would support if it came down to us. And if you want to add to that list, you just got to let me know. So I will make sure that Virginia circulates this to everybody here after tonight's meeting. It'll be attached to my minutes, okay?
Thank you.
Anything else that you wish to discuss? Yes.
I don't want to drag this out, but, so, I feel like we, you know, you say we're going backwards, and, you know, I feel like that's always the deal with capital improvements, but I feel like we ticked off quite a few things off the list, actually, in the past year or two, you know?
We certainly did. We certainly have.
We definitely put a dent, you know?
And what's happening is that the list of urgent projects is getting bigger. So, in my repetitive proclamation that all of the assets of the city continually degrade, and that we have taken great strides to try to come up with not only funding the urgent projects to get into completed, but also to put into place a building manager that would perhaps institute a maintenance program to retard the decay in city properties, which I think was very smart. So, and there's also the discussion of whether or not urgent things are urgent things, which we've had, I think, every year since 2010. It is, in a discussion with others, I've contemplated whether or not we should be going out and looking at some of these things. But I'm pleased that, because of my workload, that the president and acting president have moved some of the projects onto Public Works for consideration, and they're being handled very well there. So I don't think that there's a need for us to do a grand tour of these things, because I do think that if it comes down and we have some issues, we should go out for a grand tour. So, for example, if a measure comes down shortly after for the Parks and Forestry Maintenance Building, $330,000, it warrants getting Derek in here, the forestry manager, and saying, you know, where are you going to put this building? What's the building going to look like? What's going to go into it? How is it going to be used at the time that it's being considered? So I don't think that we need to double up our inquiry and time spent doing that, but rather to do it when it comes up for a vote. That's my thinking, and if you have other thoughts, I'd like to hear them. Okay?
Yep.
So, with that, that concludes the business for the Finance Committee meeting tonight. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Council Dolan. Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I declare the Finance Committee adjourned at 7:19.
I'd like to call Transportation and Traffic Committee to order at 7:20. Present with me this evening are Councilors Dolan and DeSimone. So most of the items on the docket for the committee are still with the the Traffic Study Commission, awaiting input. They're in various stages. They have all been discussed in the meetings, but they're either awaiting recommendations from other departments or awaiting further study by the TSC. But I do have a couple of motions this evening to strike a few items off the docket where I do have some updates, or they're just, things that haven't moved for whatever reason, and maybe there's not much we can do. So starting about halfway down the committee minutes, I'll start with the first one. I entertain a motion to strike the following from the docket of September 20th, 2022. I entertain a motion to amend section 10-4.11 of the revised ordinances, isolated stop signs, by adding eastbound drivers on Jefferson Street at 5th Street.
Second.
Thank you. So the recommendation of the TSC, we had a public hearing back in October on this, and we actually surprisingly had residents that came out and spoke against it. So there were a few that came out and said they had concerns, one being it's an odd intersection, so it's sort of a weird three-way. But just before that, you have Rathbone-Willard Drive that comes up to Dennis, and there's a stop there. And then there's this section that they're talking about of Jefferson Street, which is relatively short. And then it splits off Jefferson to, I think it's 5th Street on the right. 5th Street has a stop sign, and Jefferson westbound has a stop sign. And so looking at this holistically in discussions with the TSC, input from Attleboro Police, and input from the residents that came out for that public hearing, it seems it would cause more problems than it would solve by putting a stop sign there. The big concern was the resident who had made the complaint said that cars were coming from the direction of Rathbone-Willard Drive up Jefferson and going onto 5th Street and speeding. And so it was creating concerns of speed. So by putting a stop sign there, it might slow the drivers down. And as we've discussed before, use of stop signs for speed control is not really an appropriate measure. But then looking deeper at it and saying, well, is this a problematic intersection? Is there some other reason why we might want one there? One of the issues that came up is that cars often park on Jefferson on the right side where there's homes. And so the visibility of that stop sign might be a bit obstructed, and or it might create issues where now you have, cars that are stopped, kind of stacked along where these other cars are parked. And the potential that this could cause backups at certain times of day, namely when school's letting out at the new high school, and create a problem where now it's backing up onto Rathbone-Willard Drive, and potentially through that intersection. So really, when we weighed everything and they looked at it, the recommendation was against putting a stop sign here, and I think that's a pretty sound recommendation. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Councilor Conti.
Clearly, the speed control issue is much bigger than any of us thought, including the police chief. We've instituted the beginning stages of the traffic control unit, and he's going to try to get the rest of that traffic control unit funded in this budget. And in our conversation, he admitted that the traffic control is a much bigger problem than we originally figured. That even the design of the traffic control unit that we came up with may not be enough. And it's exactly this that he's referring to, because this is happening everywhere. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. When the traffic, when they're looking at the studies, do they look at accidents and things of that? Okay, they do.
Yes. So generally, we have the accident data that gets updated, I believe, annually, but we can request it too. And the TSC has a representative from the Attleboro Police Department who usually takes it back and takes a look to see if this was a problematic intersection, either speed issues are kind of recurring, or there's other problems like accidents that they respond to frequently. And nothing like that came up here for this intersection.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Second one from the docket of September 20th, 2022, I entertain a motion to strike the following. We received a letter expressing concern from Juliet Tezera of Hainish Road regarding Snell Street traffic light removal.
Second.
Thank you. So this was, this letter came up on the docket, just by virtue of the way it was received. It's really an FYI. When we removed the Snell Street light, some of the residents, had, either called or submitted letters. In this instance, it was a letter just to say that it would create problems for them, whether they were coming out of a particular neighborhood or street area, and they weren't sure how that was going to work. Talking with her, it seems like while there are challenges here, it didn't seem to be quite as bad as what was anticipated, and this was with the opening of the Rappenwiller Drive light, and it seems to be going okay. That said, that whole stretch of South Ave on 123 is due for a serious look, but I don't think that it's anything that we could do in response to this letter right now. My understanding is DPW has some plans that they would like to implement for this stretch, but it will need to be coordinated with the 95 project at that interchange further down 123, and that's still several years out. So this is sort of a long-term project in planning, and I know they consider things like the difficulty of taking left turns onto 123 from some of these neighboring side streets. And so these are all things that they're thinking about and taking into consideration. And so I'd like to strike just the letter. Everybody received it. I think it was in one of the packets with the communication. And so at least for awareness to know that there are some residents in that area who are having some difficulties with egress from their neighborhoods without that light. Are there any questions or comments?
I have one.
Yes.
Related. I've been up over that area lately. Trying to take a left onto South Street is just ridiculous. So I really hope that DOT is able to do something about the on-ramp and off-ramp from 95 so that we can actually do the improvements that Superintendent Tyler had presented to us months ago, because they are desperately needed and very much overdue, particularly as it pertains to the left-hand turns on and off of Lathrop and all the problems that they cause. So just a shout out to maybe get that done sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Yes,
I
Councilor.
do think that's an area that they have identified a lot of accidents at. That has been, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And last one for this evening, from the docket of October 19th, 2021, I entertain a motion to strike the following. A request to review the traffic and speeding patterns of widely used cut-through streets in South Attleboro, specifically Mendon Road and Carlton Street.
Second.
Thank you. This one was referred by Councilor Reynolds. This is in your ward. And it is something that comes up from time to time, but unfortunately, I don't know that there's enough specificity here as to specific resolutions or things that we can do to really improve it. These roads are sandwiched between 1 and 1A. And while there's a lot of things that are going to be happening over the next couple of years in this area that maybe will improve some of these issues and conditions, I'm not sure that we're in a position to take any action on these particular streets until we can kind of see whether it's development on that, where the mini golf courses that has been spoken about, and state improvements to the triangle where D'Angelo's is and the CVS that have been talked about, and I know that there's plans for that. I don't know if any of that will help alleviate some of the traffic concerns and maybe reduce people cutting through those roads. In terms of speed humps, I don't know whether these particular streets are on the list or if have been looked at for speed humps. Yes, Councilor Reynolds, did you?
So Carlton Street is on the list. I mean, there's only so much you can do here. And,
That's
you know,
it.
I mean, I keep telling people, but then somebody else will call and, you put it on, you try to get it through. But Mendon Road really isn't, I mean, that constantly has been an issue about speeding. But in fairness, DPW put up those sidewalks. It doesn't change the street, but it protects maybe a kid on a bike or somebody walking. And it's really, that's not so much, I mean, it is a cut through, but it's just, I mean, it goes from Cumberland, you can go Mendon Road all the way to Cumberland, and it comes all the way from the very end of South Attleboro and can bring you almost into Pawtucket once you hit Route 1. So even though people speed, I think the biggest speeding comes from Brown Street down. They know the light is there, or they're not paying attention, they forget the light is there, and they come zooming down. But nobody wants the speed humps, on that road. At first they thought they did, then they thought they wanted the, the blinks, how fast you're going. And that has been on several different locations on Mendon Road. So, 1 minute you see it somewhere, and then, maybe a couple of weeks later, they've moved it somewhere else. So, we're doing everything you can do. Most people, and on Carlton, they want police there. Well, everybody wants police there. That just isn't going to happen. That's the one that's the biggest cut through, Carlton, from 1A to Route 1. I mean, it's constant. The light, it's a legal cut through because the light's right there. But people come, they stop, and they either come. I check myself even when I use it. I get on there, I'm going 23, and you can easily go up to 35 or 40 before you get to the end, because you're just moving right along from the Route 1 or Route 1A. So you really, people just have to pay attention. And it's such a short section of road, and then there's a curve in it. I don't know if one of those blinking, telling you how fast you're going is good for that particular road. But definitely, they're still asking for a speed bump. I think it's too short a road for a speed bump, but, again, that's something that I know our former mayor went around and asked people and sent out letters what they wanted to do. I don't think that neighborhood has gotten that. We haven't even gotten the one in, I don't think, that was approved. Has that one even gone in
The
yet?
first three that were approved, and they were approved last spring or early summer.
Yeah.
They still have not been
They
installed.
still have not been installed. So I don't know what the holdup is, but, if those haven't been installed, this is going to continue to wait, unfortunately.
Yes, Councilor Blair.
Just a quickie. Those installations of those speed bumps, my mind playing tricks on me, that some financing come down for that, because that's not going to be done in-house.
That's right. That's right. And I believe the
my-
financing did come down for all three.
Just short time ago, correct?
December,
Yeah.
I believe, early.
Yeah. So, it is in the works.
But Carlton's on the list for that.
Yeah.
So, it's not going to get anything until after those other three are installed. So we're talking probably at least another year or two.
Walter Thibodeau had nothing but problems down there.
It's hard.
And he worked real hard at it. You'd have to really, he went above and beyond trying to straighten that out.
And it's still an issue, it's just a busy area, it's just hard to do anything down there.
Councilor DeSimone.
Yeah, just to follow up on what Councilor Conti said, at the end of the day, we need more enforcement. You got to hit people in the pocketbook if you want to change behaviors. So it speaks to, again, the need to grow that traffic enforcement department. It's desperately needed and also overdue.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I move to adjourn Traffic and Transportation Committee at 7:33.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
I would like to call IT and Infrastructure Committee to order at 7:34. Myself, Councilor Conti, and Councilor D'Angelo. I have one motion this evening. From the docket of March 7, 2023, I entertain a motion to transfer $4,000 from account 11241-000-578300, citywide reserve fund for transfer to the following accounts for the balance of fiscal year 2023. 1,000 to account 11331000534030 Budget and Administration Online Services. 3,000 to account 1000558010 Budget Administration Data Processing.
Second.
Thank you. This is pretty self-explanatory. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. That is all the business this evening. I'll call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned at 7:35. I would like to call Zoning and Land Use Committee to order at 7:35. Myself, Council Conti, and Councilor Bennett. One motion this evening. And a little bit of, actually, I'll start with the follow-up first, and then I'll do the motion. So we're waiting for the planning department, the planning board to speak on the in-law apartment. They're going to be sending their information down, and then I will be inviting Gary, hopefully, at the next committee meeting. So if there's any questions or comments that people want to ask him, when, Councilor Disselman?
Council Holmes, I thought we already had their opinion.
We had their opinion, and then they were going to be voting on it again.
Oh, they were, okay.
Yes. So that was supposed to be last night, so it should be coming in at some point this week, I believe.
Okay.
Or it was going to be coming in this week, I was told, so.
I'll just be curious if it's any different than the last
Yeah,
one.
I'm
but-
not sure if it, I just,
Okay,
in light of your committee, maybe it will be a
Thank you,
complete
that's fine, yeah.
180, I don't know.
fair enough.
So I just wanted to wait for that to come out and then
Yeah.
send it along. I already did forward their, what they had brought down to us in November. I circulated that email around again, but was waiting for the follow-up,
Okay.
and then was going to invite Gary down. So any questions that we have, certainly be prepared to ask him in the next committee meeting. Oh, and then there was a suggestion, I think, to also invite Bill McDonough down as well, because the enforcement of this could potentially, so what does my committee think of that, though?
I think it's an important component.
Yeah, could be helpful because the enforcement piece, so I'm going to reach out to both of them and see if they're able, and then just prepare your questions. And then I'll just read the one motion. From the docket of February 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to accept the following. Pursuant to Section 16-2.2, the revised ordinance of the City of Attleboro as amended to lay out a portion of Dale Court as a public way and accept said way and any related drainage, water, or sewer facilities or easements, all as shown on plan and profile entitled Street Acceptance Plan Dale Court Extension, Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated June 6, 2021. Revised through August 23, 2021. Prepared by Lucas E. Kilm, R.L.S. and Todd Piling, R.P.E., which plan and profile have been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works.
Second.
Thank you. There was a public hearing last week. Nobody came to speak about this, but it's just a street acceptance. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes, and I will call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 7:38. Thank you.
I'd like to call City Property and Claims Committee to order at 7:38. Myself, Councilor Angelo, and Councilor Waterman are members of this committee, and they're present. I have 4 items this evening. From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to accept a generous donation from the Bristol County Sheriff's Office of a black 2020 Ford Expedition 4-wheel drive Platinum Edition to the Attleboro Police Department.
Second.
Thank you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I have no further questions. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns?
No.
No.
Thank you. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to declare the following DPW equipment as surplus for trade in value. All of these are in very poor condition. A 1989 International S16000 with a VIN number of 1HTLAZ1KH670004. A 1997 GMC Sierra with a VIN number of 1GDHK34F1VF052251. A 1970 Mueller 6 CF cement mixer with a VIN number of 7750.7. A 2000 Stone 4 cubic foot mortar mixer with a VIN number of 172010195. A 1999 Graco Line Laser 1 paint machine, VIN number GM 3500-GC01, and a 2001 Graco Line Laser 2 paint machine with a VIN number of GM 3900-QX52.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think these are pretty self-explanatory. They're all in very poor condition. Any questions or concerns?
Nope.
Thank you. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that motion passes. From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to declare the following items from the Water Department as surplus and available for disposition. 200 water meters, and they are used, and a 2010 Ford Ranger with a VIN number of 1FTKR1EE7 APA04211, and that condition is, it just has a lot of bed and body rot.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think all of this is self-explanatory. I have no further questions. Anybody
No.
else?
No.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That motion passes. From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to declare the following police department file systems as surplus and available for disposition. Again, all of these are in poor condition. A Cardex Lake Triever Series 80, model LK-S80M, a serial number 24817. A Cardex Lake Triever Series 80, model LK-S80M, serial number 24818. An Acme rotary file storage cabinet, 84-inch height by 36-inch width by 26-inch depth. There is no serial number. And an Acme rotary file storage cabinet, 84-inch height by 36 width by 26 depth. Also no serial number, so obviously there's two of those.
Second.
Thank you. Again, pretty self-explanatory, just poor condition, not usable. Any other questions or concerns?
All set.
Thank you. Hearing none, that motion passes. And those are the four motions. City Property and Claims has no further business this evening. I would like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. And I am going to call for an adjournment at 7:42 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee is canceled for tonight. All right.
Okay, I'd like to call the Ordinances Committee to order at 7:42. With me this evening are Councilors Bennett and Holmes, and I have just one item for your consideration pertaining to the Sustainability Commission. We had the public hearing last week, and I have given to you both, in response to Jack Jacoby's concerns, I indicated that I had similar ones and had started working on some potential revisions. So I just want to give you the version that I have. I have received additional input from Mr. Jacoby and Mike Davis, which I'll give you at a later point, but it's a discussion we need to have. As I said, we will have a Sustainability Commission. It is absolutely possible, but it's important that we do it in a way that is appropriate and fair and respectful to all involved, administration, the council, the commission, and the residents, of course. So the document I gave you is my version of the drafts, my version of the changes that I may propose, and then we can discuss as necessary issues or suggestions that Mr. Jacoby and Mr. Davis may have, all right? So I gave it to you tonight, review it, we'll continue the conversation. It's going to take some work, is the short version, all right? Yep.
Were you finished? Sorry.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so the biggest piece that I have is that usually February every year, I'm just hoping that this will follow what we do for other boards and commissions. Like February is usually the appointment, and it usually goes to, so just kind of, that was an important part of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different in the beginning when you establish a new committee, of course, but yeah, I see no reason why it wouldn't follow the same appointment plan.
Okay.
But we can certainly do that. But again, my goal here, as we mentioned, is it has to be respectful and to all parties involved. It's a voluntary board. It is super important, If we want it to actually work effectively, it needs to be designed appropriately. And I have some issues with the way it was sent down, and you may too. So I do think it's going to be a little bit, it'll probably be a couple of meetings of conversations to digest what I have, and then to digest and potentially incorporate suggestions that they made, and then to digest and incorporate suggestions that you all may have. So that's just there to start the ball rolling, but we'll do the conversation next time. Other than that, that's all I have, unless there's anything you councilors would like to discuss. Good, then I move to adjourn at 7. What, hearing none? Too quick?
No, that was perfect.
Perfect.
Second.
Thank you. Entertained motion to adjourn at 7:45. Second, Councilor Holmes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
I'd like to call a special committee on tax abatement review to order at 7:39. Sitting on this committee are Councilors DeSimone and Bennett. I have one matter to bring before you this evening, and that is from the docket of February 21st, 2023. I entertain a motion to adopt the following language in Section 2 of the Senior Tax Abatement Program. Amount of abatement. A person who participates in the Senior Abatement Tax Program will be entitled to a maximum tax benefit of $1,000 in exchange for hours worked for the city. The maximum number of hours will be determined based upon the Massachusetts minimum wage rate. The amount of the abatement shall be reduced rarity for a participant who performs less than the maximum hours of work in the program.
Second.
Second.
So, I thought that $1,000 was probably not enough. And looking at the application process with the Council on Aging program, their eligibility requirements are that you be a resident of Attleboro, age 60 and over, a homeowner in Attleboro, doesn't say how many years. In accordance with Massachusetts general law, the applicant must be an assessed owner of the real estate, and has to be their primary residence of January 1st of the year in which the application is filed, and he or she must continue to own such property while participating in the program. Additional eligibility requirements are difficulty meeting property tax payment, but that is verbal and there's no criteria. There is no income requirements to apply to the program, and it's a commitment for the applicant for up to 44 hours per the 2023 calendar. That was based on $600. It would now change. Must be healthy enough and physically capable to do it. My thoughts on this is that I don't think that the program should be restricted to a minimum wage. If we had a 60-year-old retired lawyer who wanted to come in and do some paralegal work, he's certainly worth, or she's certainly worth more than $15 an hour. And I don't think he or she would be motivated to come in at $15 an hour. So I'd like to see that changed in the program.
Interesting.
And I also think that $1,000 is not enough, because if you've got someone like I just described that comes in to do a little bit of work, might like to take advantage of that person, because the savings to the city would be considerable. I don't know what a paralegal gets paid today, but I'm sure it is in excess of $50 an hour. I'll stop here because I want to hear the rest of the comments.
Councilor Conti, you never fail to surprise me. So, not in a bad way. So, first of all, I'm all for any increase, and I thank Councilor Waterman for initially introducing this whole subject, the idea of an increase. Yeah, so your point about the wage I find intriguing, but I'm wondering who determines that. A lawyer's wages can vary. Hourly rates, as Councilor Bennett well knows as well, it can vary greatly depending upon their expertise, their years of experience, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to set that aside for now. I have other issues. There are municipalities, and again, I'm in favor of an increase. There are municipalities, however, that have income minimums. They have residency requirements. I don't think we define this well enough, and I will say forthright, my intention is to serve those most in need first and then work backwards from there. So I think this is an issue that needs discussion, and although the solicitor said, maybe, that an ordinance was unnecessary, I disagree. I'm not quite sure that I'm opposed to this body not having some kind of role in defining the program and adjusting as needed. I think that's worthy of discussion in and of itself. So I guess what I'm saying here, I'm intrigued by your initial comments, and I have some of my own thoughts. I think it's going to take some work about where we land and all the variables that could be at play here.
So if I could respond to your comments. I appreciate your desire to address the people in needs the most. But I'm thinking that in addition to the people, perhaps 50% of the program could be assigned to people who have the needs the most, but perhaps 50% of the program should be people who could really save the city a lot of money.
Fair point. Fair point.
And so I'd like to see that split, and I don't think the $1,000 is enough. I don't think $2,000 is enough. I don't think $3,000 is enough when the average tax bill in the city is $5,500. So, maybe it should be like $5,000 because, no, I'm serious, because you could benefit more people who are in need, but you could benefit the city better by a great margin if you could take advantage of that skill pool. Thank you. Now, I saw Holmes, and then we'll get to Angelo, and then we'll get to Dolan, okay?
Thank you. I agree that this motion is, I think, going to be bigger than just addressing this. I think the $1,000 is the state maximum, though. And if it's
Sorry, Council Holmes, it's 15 at the moment, I believe.
It's 15, okay. And then I was looking back because I thought when I chaired this that we increased it, but what we actually did was we increased the number of seniors. I think it was from like 120 to 160. But what we're talking about is determining eligibility, the wait list, how we're going to allow residents to come into this, because in the past when we asked the Council on Aging this, it was there wasn't a clear understanding of who was eligible, who came in and who was able to do this and who wasn't. And I think we need to really define that, as well as I'm open to obviously increasing.
Is that the bat phone, or what is it?
Is it the bat phone? Is that ringing?
No, it
No, it's
sounded
a
like...
doorbell.
It's a doorbell.
Oh.
So, well, that concludes my comments. So basically, I'm open to increasing this, but I think we need to review the program and try to target those who are in need right now, so.
Councilor Angelo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council Conti. I like where you're going. I'm all in favor of increasing it. I mean, if there was a way of even going beyond the 1,500, but obviously if that's the state max, that's the state max. I do want it to be the main focus is for the lesser,
Lower income.
yes, thank you, lower income people. I'd love that to see that as the main focus and like I said, a secondary for, for the weller set people. I wish there was something else we could do beyond the 1,500. I would have no idea what would be possible, but I like your thinking there. And if there was another way to skin the cat, or I hate that term, but I hate that term. Sorry, but I would be up for that too as well. But I like where you're going. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Dolan, then Councilor Bennett.
Thank you. I agree it should be increased as well, and I wholeheartedly agree that it should be geared toward and should be first available for the lower income folks that really need it. And thank you for clarifying the number of participants, because I couldn't remember, so thank you for that. So with 160 available, and I know that we had spoke about it before, how many usually go in and how many inquire, and we raised it for a reason. So I think, I agree with Councilor DeSimone that this should be an ordinance. B, paralegal, I think if we hire somebody for legal representation or legal advice or legal anything, that it would be somebody that's not just part-time in it. You know what I mean? So as far as the pay and the minimum wage and such, I'm not sure I agree with the paralegal analogy, but I wholeheartedly believe that it should be first available for the folks that really need it. And I'd love to have that written into an ordinance. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Councilor Bennett.
My question is we already have parameters, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, for people who want to apply for the tax abatement, for the senior tax abatement, correct? So if they come in, not necessarily for this work down program, but for an abatement in general,
That's called an exemption.
the exemption.
Right.
So that is tied to a certain income level,
Yes, it
is my
is.
understanding. And so is there some reason why we couldn't use similar parameters to limit eligibility for this program to ensure that the people who need it the most are getting it, and that this isn't essentially acting as some type of part-time post-retirement gig for somebody who's just looking for a little extra?
I can say that this program in the past has been used in a very loosely managed manner. And that the people who were in the program were typically people who were in the program every year. And there were people that were excluded from the program that were upset that they were excluded from the program for no apparent reason. And that the eligibility requirements are, in my estimation, and I think yours as well, very loose, which makes it very subjective, which makes it very political.
It should be an
And
ordinance.
that is wrong.
Agreed,
In my opinion, that is wrong.
agreed.
However, we're counselors. We can't control administrative duties. What we can do is we can set the parameters. So what I'm hearing, Councilor Bennett, Councilor DeSimone, is that a motion to amend from 1,000 to 1,500 might be in order. But yes, Councilor DeSimone.
Again, I'm going to advocate that we consider an ordinance because there's more to it to me than just increasing the amount at this particular time, Councilor Conti. I think we need more. I don't even want to make that motion right now until we've discussed the variables that are at play here. And I am going to advocate for an ordinance. I actually have one drafted if you're interested.
So given that, go ahead, Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. I love, you're such a go-getter. The other thing is that I think the next administration would be great. At one point, I can look back at my records as well. What departments are looking for seniors to come in? Where can seniors say that they're interested in working? The library, the pools in the summertime, like, what roles could they potentially,
I can answer your question. The available spots are in limited departments of the city. The animal shelter, the council on aging, City Hall, the compost field, the library, the park department, police and fire department, public works, schools, veterans, water, and swimming pools. Councilor DeSimone.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Councilor Conti, I just want to acknowledge that, when I think of this program, I think of it as I said, helping seniors who have financial need, but I am very much appreciative of your point that there's also valuable service that could be provided to the city, and perhaps that is something that is under-considered. Just that part's a little more complicated to me, but I do know there's department heads who don't often utilize the seniors in this program, so those are issues that we can consider. But your point about, is this a way to get more help to the city in a way that's affordable and efficient, is interesting, and I think also worthy of further consideration.
So what do you think about this? Suppose the council were to vote this measure through. It's already been seconded. We could vote it out of committee, put it through the council to get it from 600 to 1,000. But over the course of next year,
Right.
develop an ordinance that has those specific requirements and perhaps, the state maximum limit, so that this program could be of a better benefit to the people that they select to benefit from the program this year, and that a future ordinance, which is, as you know, that could go on for a year, gets developed by us and future councils. But do you think, Councilor Bennett and Councilor DeSimone, that there's merit in this motion to take care of a economic situation short-term.
Yeah.
That this program could benefit more people in a better way if we increased the minimum this year and moved on from there. Counselor Bennett first.
I would ultimately agree that I think increasing it is important here, and I do think that we should spend some time looking at this ordinance piece. To your question about whether we should vote this now, I'd support that, because my understanding is that the program isn't full right now. They're not at capacity. So that tells me that there's still some room for people who are interested to come in and who may need it, that maybe aren't aware of it or aren't taking advantage of it, to come in and try it out this year. And I think that we could spend some real meaningful time developing this with the administration over the next year to ensure that the program parameters are set for the next fiscal year. And we can really, I mean, potentially, I wouldn't go beyond 1,000 now, but I could see the benefit of increasing it more once we have those parameters set, to see how we can balance both reaching the folks who need it financially, as well as keeping it open for that benefit to the city if you have a particular skill set in some way, whether that's not a first come, first serve, but maybe so many slots are reserved for a certain income limit or whatever that might look like. So yeah, I think I'd be in support of passing this increase through to 1,000 tonight.
Thank
At the
you.
committee.
Councilor DeSimone.
So, look, I mean, I think the increase is deserving and again overdue, which points to the fact to me that we need to regulate this so we don't wait until the next political situation or whim or whatever have you, someone decides to increase it. I do think it needs to be something that we consider on a regular basis. However, having said that, it can take a while for us to craft an ordinance, particularly with some of the issues that you've raised and the things that I'm thinking about. So I don't certainly want to hold up this business. So what you're proposing is we move it forward as is. It applies to the program as it currently stands, and we start a separate conversation about an ordinance and variables, and we can decrease it and play all these things. I am fine with that because it could take a while to accomplish, I think, what some of the things we want to do. So I'm fine with it as is at 1,000 with the current participation level in the program running. But this is a conversation I think we should revisit to further define the program.
Oh, I think Counselor
Counselor
Waterman's been
Waterman.
patiently waiting.
I totally agree with the approach that you want to take. If it increased to $1,000, which I hope it does, and that was my intent for now, and then taking a longer range approach and working on this year, because that's going to take a little while to work through. They're in about 123 to 124 involved in the program now. The max is 150. So we don't even know if we're going to reach the max that quick. We don't have all the jobs out there that we think we can find. So we've just asked Carissa, who runs this program, she's been asked by Dennis to try to find other departments that will open up jobs for the folks who want to get into it. In order to move to $1,000, that increases the hours from 43 to 66. So the scheduling of those 66 hours has to happen fairly soon to make it work, because they work on an annual basis, not a fiscal year basis. So that's what changes it. And then let's take the time to look at it even further. Thank you.
Councilor Holmes.
Yes, I mean, I think that advertising, if there's only 123 residents, I think that there's more. So I think reviewing what the parameters are, what we want to have in place, and then opening up to the city to see if there's other roles that individuals could potentially help with.
That will happen.
Any other comments, questions, conclusions? Seeing none, the motion's in order as it stands. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That concludes the business the Special Committee for Tax Abatement Review has for this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 8:04. Thank you.
Special Committee for Classification Compensation has no business tonight.
That's it.